Hi, good afternoon. We're here at the next venture that we've got. It's actually Quest 3, but ironically all three are interconnected from where we've shown you so far. So far to date we've shown you the Spooks Hill at Warboys. We've looked around Borley Rectory to Strange Happenings, and now we're here in the most remotest place. Sort of pan around and have a look. There's no main road to this church at all, and this church was basically abandoned quite some time ago. In fact, in World War II it had to be rebuilt afterwards because a bomber on his way back to Germany flew over here, and just to dump what bombs he had left, he just happened to dump the bombs, and they obviously obliterated the church. But before then it was abandoned. So it wasn't abandoned because of World War II, it was abandoned before then, and there's some history there as well. What's interesting to know is that we'll talk about that in the next clip of the film. But we've had to walk up a track that took about 5–10 minutes for the able person. The church is currently under the Conservation Trust, the Church's Conservation Trust. But let's go in and have a look and see what we're going from there. So now we're at the place where Joseph Ramsey is truly buried. Now this resulted in the argument between Drury and the other reverend. Now what happened was, you'd be led to think that this is the particular stone here. It's clearly wrong. He's a 2-year-old lad. Yes, he comes from a good background. Yes, he's part of the Ramsey family. This is his stone here, in fact. But still he's not buried there. Why, you may ask? He's not buried there at all. He's actually buried. Let's have a look. Through there. He's actually buried right in there, just at the edge of the fencing part there. Because, again, he was a nonconformist. So therefore he wasn't allowed to be buried on sanctified ground. Now the service started. Drury had agreed to this. It was his church, so he had agreed that the nonconformists with their reverend and Drury would come here and bury the child with a service. The service was only about 10 minutes in. People started to report they felt sick, they felt cold. It was a wonderful day. They felt cold. They felt as if there was something really bad happening. And as the service started, and there was all this weird tension around, Drury pretty much just had an argument. He argued with the other reverend, stormed off, and didn't come back to bury the chap. So he stormed off straight through down to the gates, not to be seen again that day. Went straight back to his own cottage. So that left a bit of a quandary, because we had the nonconformist child with their religious leader now attempting to continue the service on land that actually wasn't theirs. And this is what brought the scandal out in the 19th century, I say, under the Burial Reformation Act, that then put this particular church on the map. But the story doesn't end there. It gets much more interesting, and we'll hope to show you soon inside the church and show you parts inside the church that really do matter. Now, the story started around about the 17th century, from what was known then, if we go back to a very old lady of the village, as it were, of this area of Akeman. And she claimed that she had been passed down a story from her great-grandmother, that the church was built on unholy ground. Now, whether that was part of a pagan culture, whether that's part of a Christian, perhaps that was the turn over to the Church of England, who knows. But she claims that the church was built on unholy ground to try and make it holy. That's all she ever claimed. Now, there are reports of different goings on here at the church. We've mentioned them already, the bells ringing, people looking out of the windows, and there's no one actually physically in the church, it's locked up. But the main thing is that if you travel, this lady's great-grandmother said that if you travel 13 times widdershins, 13 times anti-clockwise around the church, you're supposed to raise the devil. Now where that story comes from is still a myth today. But I don't know, let's put it to the test.